be respectful of everyone's time. So I'm super excited. We are streaming live through Facebook and through Instagram. So welcome. For many of you who don't know me, this may be your first time seeing me live. Welcome. I am Sharice Nance. I'm Pittsburgh native. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and certified clinical trauma professional. I co-own Hand in Hand Counseling Services with my good friend and business partner, Tess Kinney. We've had the practice for, it'll be 7 years in November. So I'm super excited and grateful for that. And I also have another organization, Vitamin C Healing. No, I'm not selling vitamins, but vitamin C is metaphor for healing of the whole person, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, with the hope that when you experience me speaking, my books, that you receive the same experience that you would when you take the actual nutrient vitamin C. So that's how vitamin C was created. My husband actually came up with the concept vitamin C. Hey, Dave Dawn, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. So that's how vitamin C was founded. It's expanded to work with helping professionals, healthcare professionals, and entrepreneurs who struggle with self-care, work-life balance and integration, compassion fatigue, and burnout. That's pretty much all of us, right? Especially during these challenging and unprecedented times. So today, I want to talk to you about something that you all know is very near and dear to my heart, which is burnout and compassion fatigue. It's something that I went through personally, and over the past 5 or 6 months, I'm pretty sure many, if not all of us, have had some bout with feeling burned out, feeling overwhelmed, feeling exhausted, feeling apathetic, feeling hopeless, and those are just recipes for burnout. But first, I want to talk about the difference between compassion fatigue and burnout because they are in the same family. So with compassion fatigue is experienced by people who are in the helping and healthcare profession, people who are in the front line, your social workers, your therapists, your nurse, your doctors, police officers, EMT workers, people who are constantly in contact with other traumatized people are the ones who experience compassion fatigue and secondary trauma. Burnout, anyone can experience burnout. Pretty much the same symptoms, the apathy, the hopelessness, the physiological symptoms that may come with, chronic pain and things along those lines. But with burnout can happen from working a career or a job or being an entrepreneur who is working 70, 80 hours a week and just burning the candle at both ends. So anyone can experience burnout, but they're both in the same family. So I want to talk about burnout and compassion fatigue and the core reasons why many of us are burned out. So there are many reasons, but whenever I'm working with people and talking about things, I really like to get to the core because that's how we heal. I'm not into surface treating. We have to get to the core in an attempt to snap it. So again, we know that there are a lot of those symptoms, and we know that there are many, many reasons, and we know that self-care is the best way to treat burnout, to manage it, and to even possibly prevent it. But today we're going to talk about what I like to call real self-care. Yeah, we all love our massages or bubble baths or chocolates or aromatherapy. Those things are fun. Those things are great. I love my massages, but guess what? Unfortunately, they wear off, and then we are still left to deal with life and the things that life comes at us fast, the things that life presents with us. So when thinking about real life care, I'm thinking about building a life that we don't have to consistently escape from. It's about asking yourself what you need and following through with an honest answer. And that may mean I need to go to bed a little bit earlier so I'm not so exhausted, or I need to work on saying no a little bit more and yes to myself. How can I set that boundary? Did I get some movement in today? Did I complete that stress cycle today? What is it that I need that my spirit is missing, that that I'm not tuning into myself mentally and emotionally, and only you can answer that. Self-care is work. If we're being honest, it's a process, it's a discipline. So that's what I mean when I talk about real self-care. So there are many core reasons, and over the next few weeks, we're going to go through 5 reasons. So today, I'm not going to overwhelm you or give away all the 5 reasons today. So you got to stay tuned in over the next few weeks. But today, we're going to talk about one, and that's values. I think many people get burned out because there is a lack of clarity on what your values are. And, I can give you the best self care strategies. I can give you the best grounding techniques. We can go through some meditation, mindfulness practice. We can go through all of those things. But if we don't know what our values are and we're not connected with them, nothing is going to work. You're going to continue to feel disconnected. You're going to continue to feel exhausted, overwhelmed, that something just isn't right. It's like being in a relationship that doesn't connect with your values. It's like being at a job that doesn't connect with your values. And I think being at a job that doesn't connect with your values is a great example. An example I often give in many of my compassion fatigue workshops, that when many people are interviewing for a job, especially in the helping profession, happens all the time. And I know I've done it, especially earlier in my career when I was so excited to start interviewing with organizations. I'm just so excited to be in the room. Well, guess what? They've done the research on you to make sure you're a good fit. But how often are we doing our research to make sure that it's a good fit? What's their mission statement? What's their vision statement? Does it connect with your values? Most importantly, what are your values? If you don't know your values, or how do you know that it's a good fit? And then are we constantly checking in to make sure that it remains a good fit? Because you evolve, the company evolves, values evolve. So this is something that is this is fluid. This isn't something that is fixed. This is something that we want to make sure that we continue to check in on as time goes on. Hey, thanks for joining in, cuz. So we want to make sure that we're constantly checking in on our values, just to make sure that they're aligned. And when I work with people and we talk about their values, many people get stuck because they don't know what their values are. They don't know what I mean. There's so many things that can be your values, but they're just to give you some examples. A value could be community, it could be flexibility, it could be your faith in God, it could be family, it could be health and wellness, it could be success, it could be achievement, it could be so many things. So when we know what our values are, we are more likely to do things that are aligned with our values. And when it's not aligned, you'll feel it. You'll know within your spirit that it just doesn't feel right. Using the job as an example again, if one of your values, if two of your values are flexibility and family, why would you take a job that is requiring you to work on holidays and weekends? Because that's going to take you away from your family, and then now that's intruding on your flexibility, and then you're wondering why you're burned out. None of these meditation practices are working. These breathing techniques are for the birds. Well, first of all, most importantly, you're not doing something that's in alignment with your values. So when we are aligned with our values, we're more likely to be happy and fulfilled and satisfied. But when we're doing things that are not aligned with our values, that's when the agitation comes in. That's where the overwhelm, the exhaustion, and yes, eventually we're going to experience that compassion fatigue if you're a helping professional, or even burnout. So we want to make sure that we are doing things that are aligned with our values. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer today. I wanted to just really share that message, I felt like a tongue twister, message with you about making sure that you remain aligned with your values so that you don't get burned out. So I just want you to take a couple things away from today. If you haven't already, what are your core values? What are your top 3 core values? And if you don't know what your values are, really take some time to reflect on those things that are important to you. Here are 3 ways to possibly find out what your values are. Think of a time when you were happiest, when you were the most proud, and when you felt the most fulfilled, and see what you come up with. And then think of some ways that you can do things that are aligned with your values. And if you're finding that things in your life aren't aligned with your values, I'm not telling you to throw everything away today, but you got some decisions to make. And just because um, the light bulb goes off and we have this epiphany, I got to get more aligned with my values, that doesn't mean that life is going to get easier. That just means that you have more of a blueprint, you have more of a guide. You're not just out here, flying by the seat of your pants. So really take some time to reflect on what those core values are. When were you the most happiest? When were you the most proud? When did you feel the most fulfilled? And go ahead, and my bio, my link is there. You can download. I have a couple free things that you can download: the A Time to Heal ebook, From Pandemic to Perseverance. And guess what? Of course, there are some meditation practices in there, so there are some strategies for you to use. But most importantly, I really want you to think about what those values are, and go ahead in my link, visit the website, check us out. And we're going to be right back here next Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Please feel free to share your comments with me, your experiences. If you want to share what it was like for you to get connected with your values, that's great. But we'll be right back here next Wednesday at 7:00. And thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you do something for you tonight before you go to bed. Have a great evening.